Hi, I'm Shepard, and welcome to Next Meta with Shepard, where today we're going to be talking about Akali Jungle, the next big thing. So let's take a look at everyone's favorite or most hated assassin, Akali. Akali could sometimes feel hit or miss. Some games she seems unbeatable and untouchable, and she can kill entire teams by herself. And in other games, Akali feels less useful than a melee minion. But in those games, when Akali gets snowballing, she becomes really, really dangerous. Unfortunately, Akali has a lot of bad matchups in lane, and those bad matchups can be bad enough that they'll cripple Akali so that she never starts to snowball, she never gets enough gold, and she can't get rolling. So how can we get Akali enough gold without going through her really, really rough lane phase? Simple. We're going to put her in the jungle. So the pros of putting Akali in the jungle are she has really high damage mid to late game, and you can carry from a jungle position. She has excellent dueling potential, she has really fast clear speed, and once she hits level 6, she has excellent ganks. The cons are she has minimal gank pressure pre-6, as in almost none. She's reliant on her team to provide crowd control and to initiate fights, and she is really squishy. So first let's talk about the cons. Akali is really, really weak before she hits level 6. She's almost pure melee, with the one exception being her Q, and she really has no way to lock down targets or to sneak up on someone or assassinate anything until she hits level 6. She really, really needs her ultimate Shadow Dance, and she usually needs at least 2 charges for a successful gank. She also needs a good amount of gold to get rolling. She's very dependent on items, and it's important that she has more gold, if possible, than whoever she's trying to duel. And the jungle offers less gold than a solo lane. Now let's talk pros. She is really, really strong once she hits level 6. Shadow Dance allows you to gank long lanes especially, and lanes without mobility to great effect. She also had a series facelift given to her E ability, Crescent Slash, so the cooldown goes down drastically per rank. This means that if you're having a bad game or a bad matchup, or there's really no opportunities for you to gank around the map, you can go ahead and max Crescent Slash first and clear the jungle really, really quickly, and farm safely and get as much gold as you can. So let's take a look at the build that we can use here to get Akali going. First, let's look at runes. I like to run 26 ability power, 8.5 physical damage, and 9 armor. It's important you get a good mix of physical damage and ability power. That attack damage is useful in multiple ways. Your E scales with attack damage, and your passive gives you additional spell vamp for having more AD. For masteries, I like to run 28-2-0. You can run 30-0-0 if you want, but I prefer to get 2 points in the neutral minion reduction. So you take a little less damage on your first clear. It helps you stay a little bit safer in your jungle earlier in the game. And I think that's really important for Akali to safely clear her own jungle. I like to put 28 points in offense because she really benefits from just about everything in the offense tree, and there's really no need to put additional points in the defense or utility trees because she really gets the most efficient scaling out of those 28 points into the offense. As for build, I recommend going to Skirmisher Saber for your smite, and then you really just build AP. It's fairly standard, but it really depends on what smite you want to choose. I like to go Skirmisher Saber for trying to burst down single targets and for dueling, but if you need Chilling Smite so you can stick to slippery targets, absolutely build that item. You can get the other 2 smites, but I don't recommend it personally. Akali really shines with an offensive smite. As for skill order, you generally want to max your E first to help with your clear, and then Q second. But if you get a kill early, so sometime before the 10 or 15 minute mark, and you feel you can snowball that lead, max your Q first. So now let's look at playing Akali in all 3 stages of the game. In the early game, in the mid game, and in the late game. So in the early game, you really want to hit 6 as quickly as possible. Really focus on farming. Try not to gank if you don't have to. Counter ganks are okay, but sitting in brush for a while wasting time is only going to set you farther back. You really need to hit that level 6 as quickly as possible. Once you hit 6, definitely try to gank a long lane if you can, and try to save at least 2 charges on your ultimate so you can gap close onto that person or stick to them. Dragons, towers, and teamfights are going to spell the mid game. Don't feel pressured to force ganks and engages where you don't have vision, and just farm. You scale extremely well with gold. If you can, control vision with your support, try to duel the enemy jungler or gank players in long lanes or players without turrets. In teamfights, you're going to have to assassinate the backline, but be patient. Abuse your stealth, abuse your high mobility, and try to clean up teamfights and escape if you can. You are not the initiator. Rely on your teammates' CC. Be aware of enemies with lots of crowd control and pink wards. Akali is very squishy and she dies very quickly when focused. Once you've acquired most of your items and the game is shifting to macro objectives, you're going to look towards towers, inhibitors, dragons, and Baron. Akali at this stage in the game excels at cleaning up teamfights. Again, you have to be patient. You have to let your team initiate if they can. You can try to assassinate targets or dual split pushers, but in a team fight, you have to let your team engage first. You clean up, you assassinate backline targets. It's definitely not on you to do the engaging. Try to, if you can, assassinate a target splitting in a long lane or someone without flash, and once they're dead, then you can try to take objectives with a numbers advantage. That about wraps it up for Akali Jungle on Next Meta with Shepard. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below, and thanks for watching.